Hi everyone. So I am in Har Gerizim visiting the Samaritan community. It's going to be a spectacular day. I'm very, very excited. Let's go on an adventure. Yay, here we are. We're in the car with Abood, who is so nice.
Hello.
Yes, and lovely doors there in the back. And we're gonna go. He is a local, Shomroni, and he's going to take us to places and just tell us about Shomronim. And I'm very, very curious and so excited. And I'm gonna turn you guys around so you can see where we are.
Open sesame.
Open sesame. We are at Atar Har Gerizim, so we're basically going on the mountain of Har Gerizim. Wow.
Speaks both perfect Hebrew and perfect Arabic, by the way,
I'm jealous.
and English.
Yeah, it's when you're a Samaritan and you're living on Mount Gerizim, especially, and you're close to the Palestinians and the Israelis at the same time, you get your Hebrew and Arabic really good.
Wow.
Especially also because you also already know ancient Hebrew, Ivrit Atika, so learning Hebrew is faster. But like the mother tongue language here is Arabic, and there's another half of us that lives in Tel Aviv that's grow up to speak Hebrew, although they also speak very good Arabic, in Holon specifically, yes.
So guys, this is the center. You can buy the tickets from the other side, and of course take one of these pamphlets, leaflets, so that you can know about Har Gerizim.
So we have the Har Bracha Yeshuv here. You have, of course, all the panoramic view from this side shows the Jordan Valley, especially more towards the left. You have like a little bit in front of you there is a Palestinian city called Bet Furik. And a little bit closer around there is down there, exactly down there, Awarta. Is where the first high priest of the sons of Israel was buried.
Wow.
HaKohen HaGadol HaRishon. His name was Eleazar, the son of Aaron.
Eliezer ben Aaron, okay. Wow.
And of course, from that side, maybe you can also see it, but it's the sea. Like you can see there's a little bit of a reflection almost. You see this white dash like right in the middle?
Yeah.
That's basically the reflection of the sun. That's the sea, basically.
Kivun Tel Aviv.
Netanya, basically.
Netanya. You can really see everything here.
Yeah. So here's, first of all, this is one of the most holy points on earth for the Samaritans. Why? You see the corner there, and of course, you see there's a gate around it. Basically, in that corner is where Abraham almost sacrificed his son Isaac, according to our tradition, because, in the Jewish traditions, the name of the place, and also in the Samaritan tradition, the name of the place is Har Moriah.
Yeah.
And this is basically our Har Moriah for us, you see?
So for most Jews, the holy places would be like Har HaBayit, Har Moriah, and Yerushalayim. But for Samaritans, this is like where you consider the holiest places to be. That all these events
this
happen,
is basically right? Abraham. He put his son Isaac, and he said after God basically saved him, and he sent him like a sheep instead.
Yeah.
He said Elohim Yireh. Right? So this is one of the names. Elohim Yirei, Shema Yirei. So that's how we call it in ancient Hebrew.
Wow.
So what do we do is, on the pilgrimage, we come here and we basically just kind of move around the rock and touch it and kind of, this is the place where basically if any Samaritan has a wish, they would come here and they would just say it, you know? I remember in high school, I wanted a wish to pass, and God had other plans for me. I passed in high school, but I just didn't get the nice ranking that I wanted. But in the end, I ended up doing the things that I loved. But some people would say, for example, they wish good health for their loved ones and everything. So Oriel, make a wish. I'm joking.
No, I can.
You should.
So can I use the language prayer? Is
Please.
it the same? So I pray that here, he's going to turn it around on me. That this land will be a land of peace, like truthfully, not like wishful thinking. I would love this land to be a land of peace and that we wouldn't need to have borders.
Amen.
That's what I want.
Beautiful.
They lock it with a sign that says that this is a holy place, and so you don't go there unless it's
only
for,
3 times a week they open it. Sorry, only 3 times a year they open it for us.
on the 3 like Muadim, right?
On the 3 Muadim, Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot, basically. So Mount Gerizim, why is it so holy for us? So other than it's the place where Abraham and Isaac met and the sacrifice almost happened, there's also the place of the Jacob's ladder, where Jacob slept on one of those rocks here, perhaps this rock right here, he slept here, and then he woke up from the dream because he saw a crazy dream of basically angels climbing up and down a ladder, and
ascending and descending the ladder, yeah.
Yeah, so he woke up from the dream, he's like, wow, there's God here and I didn't know. He said, and then he said, this must be the gates of heaven and the house of God. Right? So these are actually 2 names for Har Gerizim, the house of God and the gates of heaven. So why is it also a very holy? Is because of the place right behind you. Look right behind you, right here. So you see this holy spot right here is for us the place where the tabernacle, we believe, once stood, the Mishkan. So we believe that Joshua ben Nun, basically the first year when Bnei Israel entered the land, after they did the ceremony of the blessings and the cursings, where 6 stood on Mount Gerizim to pronounce the blessings and 6 stood on Mount Ebal to pronounce the cursings. After that, they came here and they built the altar and basically the Mishkan and all the tools, just like it was instructed in the Torah. And the Mishkan stood here for many years, up until basically it was, as our tradition says, hidden by God. Now, other archaeologists and historians say that it was destroyed. It's a different matter. We believe it was hidden by God, and it will be revealed one day again.
Wow. So just for people that don't understand, the Mishkan is not the same as like the Solomon's temple, or the Mishkan is like it's basically a tent in which God would come and he would meet with Moses or with Joshua. And
at that time, it used to be where the high priest specifically was allowed to enter. Only the Levi'im and specifically the high priest was allowed to enter. So speaking of the high priest, one of the most interesting findings recently in the last 20 years, basically, is that they found a mansion here, which we'll take a look in a bit, that they believed that it was belonging to a high priest. Nice. And because they found certain artifacts, a golden bell, really, if you know about the high priest's clothing, at the end of the robe, he had a golden bell basically around, the golden bells around the robe. So one of them was found, perhaps belonging to the high priest, right? One of the high priests. Speaking of a high priest, we still have a lineage of high priests going back from Aaron, we believe. So 137 generations of high priests.
137 generations.
Yeah. So we choose the high priest today, not based on son to son anymore, but based on age. So the oldest from the Cohen family. So sorry, it's not based on age only, so based on family. So you have to be from the Cohen family, and you have to be the oldest of the Cohen family, and you have to be living on Mount Gerizim, because this is where the Mishkan used to be, you see? So yeah. And in the pilgrimage, maybe you can basically bring up some photos. I'll send you if you want some during the video. In the pilgrimage, this place would be filled with Samaritans praying towards this area specifically. So why this area? Again, to the tabernacle. And this is like, I said Har Gerizim is the holiest place, right? But what if you're on Har Gerizim? What direction do you pray, right? So
right.
The answer is?
Towards the Mishkan.
That. But what if you're on the Mishkan? Where do you pray?
I don't know.
Towards where the Chazan also prays,
okay.
Which is usually towards that direction. See?
And what's in that direction?
It's just the Jordan Valley, but that's not the reason. It's just that because the high priest or the Chazan would be holding the Torah, right? So this is where we pray.
Nice. Wow,
All
this place is massive.
Right? So you have to take into account this was all unearthed. So you see it like right in front of you. Imagine that this was actually under earth. Now the archaeologists had to dig it up, and then they rebuilt a certain part of it, right? So you can see there's like an up until a certain part, it's rebuilt. There's signs to tell you. But I can we can go a little bit around it and see how like you can imagine how they lived here.
Guys, we're
talking about
history.
Yeah, we're talking about something like more than 2,000 years old, mentioned basically.
Wow.
People don't really come here, huh? Like Israelis.
They do.
They come
It's
here.
just that, in the recent few years, it has been less. Because, Corona came and then the war and such and such. So this was also one specific room. Perhaps it was also, of course, the wall was with stones. And archaeologists also say that these were deliberately empty so that people would store food here or something like that because it was a little bit cooler. Maybe
Right.
you can put your hand and see and test it if it's cooler.
Let's see. I don't know.
Perhaps, maybe.
A bit, just a bit, yeah.
It's definitely intuitive to keep a hole or something inside, specifically because it was actually closed.
Yeah.
So it would make more sense. Watch your head here. It's a huge stone.
I literally did not have to mind my head because
And your
I'm
head
that short.
again here.
But they do.
I hit my head.
Oi.
I hope you filmed that.
איזה מקום מטורף,
נכון?
באמת. שאתה גר פה.
כן, קשה להאמין.
איזה יופי.
All right, so I want to show you also one new thing that they opened up for the public, and I'm still learning about how it used to work, and it's basically an olive press, an ancient olive press, because in the ancient times, even until today, the people they use olives, but in the ancient times, if you had an olive press, it means that you used to be from the elite families,
Mm-hmm.
So. Oops. There it is.
Wow.
You can guess that they might have used a donkey or something to rotate this.
Yeah.
And perhaps have the olives pressed and squeeze out the olive, I had the manager of this place come and give me a short tour, but I couldn't catch the exact procedures. Perhaps for the next video.
Right. You can see it around. So guys, basically they would use what they had to move this massive stone, which is perhaps a donkey.
Look at the size of it.
And they would basically he would be sort of tied up to here, and he would walk around.
2,000 years ago, that's pretty.
And
big.
that's how they would press the olives. Wow.
You can also see like these were also used to somehow, raise, like they used to raise something really heavy by using those stones, right? So, and also you have these perhaps that had fire inside them, and perhaps a place to store. You can get closer here. See?
Ah. And everywhere you turn, there's something else.
Come on, we have a massive church to explore.
Wow.
You can see that's the wall of the church. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, it is huge. So the ancient Hebrew that you speak, you speak in your day-to-day, what language you speak, and how does everyone know ancient Hebrew?
So in day-to-day, we speak, the ones who live on Mount Gerizim, they speak Arabic. We have a kind of our own dialect. It's the same as the Palestinians in Nablus speak, but we have some twists a little bit. And if you look, Oriel, over there, look at how it's a pretty big, a neighborhood, right? Compared to for 400 people. But actually, it's not for 400, it's for 800 people. And that's for the Samaritans who live in Tel Aviv. Whenever there's a festival, they come to live here for about 7 days, or even more sometimes. It's just more convenient for them.
So it's sort of empty part of the time. in a sense.
It is, it is, it is. You can see Mount Ebal in front of you. So let me show you the stairs we use if there's a pilgrimage. So remember how we went up with the car a few minutes ago? So if we have a pilgrimage, we don't use that road. We use these staircases.
So it leads from the village up here.
Yes.
And you can see that sort of like shal, how do you say, like a gate, an arched gate.
You know, this was the original way. There wasn't another way for cars, and eventually they opened up the cars. You know, perhaps this was Jacob's ladder. You know, I like to believe that.
Yeah.
We go from house to house, singing and praying on the way, bringing our members with us up the road to the gate you see here. On our way to the top of Mount Gerizim, we pass 7 sacred stations, including the 12 stones that Joshua placed at the center of the land, the place of the offering of Isaac, and the everlasting hill. The everlasting hill is the place where I told you the Mishkan is, basically. Notice how, you know, the stones here, they have like almost like a stomach. See, look.
Yeah, they like protrude.
So it's a kind of dedication to the king that helped build it. So in order for him, like he just wanted, you know, stones with stomachs.
Huh.
That's how, you know, you remember the king, basically. In front of you is the 12 stones. Joshua's altar, although we don't have specifically 12 stones anymore because it was really, because of the wars and the, you know, over 3,000 years, it was really destroyed. But this is what remained of it. So what are these 12 stones? Basically, in the Torah, it was commanded that basically the sons of Israel shall bring those 12 stones, and they should put the names of the sons of Israel on them.
Right.
Basically, to remember the, you know, the tribes. So it's also one of the stations where we stop, and one of the priests stands on one of the stones, and he kind of declares the blessings on Mount Gerizim, and he reads the chant of declaring the commandment that asked the sons of Israel, or the Samaritans specifically, also to. Or not the Samaritans, like the sons of Israel, as we believe, to build the altar on Mount Gerizim. So
for an audience that doesn't understand, and for me,
yeah,
what do Samaritans consider themselves part of or not a part of? Because people ask, are you Jew? Are you this? Are you that? Who are Samaritans?
So we believe that we are part of the sons of Israel who entered the land here. But at that time, there was no Samaritans and there was no Jews, basically. I mean, of course there was. But at that time, the nickname, or let's say the term Jewish or the term Samaritan didn't exist, because at that time it was 12 tribes. When the split happened, the northern Israelites were separated from the southern Israelites, and the tribes who lived in the north were different from the tribes who lived in the south. The tribes who lived in the south, the biggest tribe was the tribe of Judah. And that's where most people say where the word Jewish comes from, because the biggest tribe lived in the south was Judah. But in the north, Samaritans lived, and the word Samaritan, actually, there's 2 interpretations of the origins. One is Shomrim, HaShomrim Shel Torah. That's how we call ourselves. Or of course, not the only Shomrim, but that's what we call ourselves. Others would call us Shomronim because we lived in Shomron. So that's the north, the kingdom of Shomron. Also, for your information, the kingdom of Shomron was named the kingdom of Israel. So you have the kingdom of Israel in the north and the kingdom of Judah in the south. Often those kingdoms collided against each other, and sometimes they were with each other against other enemies. But the number of Samaritans used to be more than 1 million, actually, at some point, because of the wars that happened here and because of the many nations that came to control the land. And we also didn't have an exile like the Roman exile and other exiles. The numbers declined incredibly low to 150 Samaritans only 100 years ago. So in 1920, there was, maybe I wouldn't have been talking to you almost now, right? Because there was very low number of Samaritans, and now we're 850. So we made a pretty good jump. All right, this is the Byzantine church. It's known as basically dedicated to Mary, and was built by what's his name? Zeus, basically, Zeus. So we're talking about 1,600 years ago. And of course, you can see from this painting here that it actually was a little bit more painted red, and there's other, there's basically levels to it. But of course, history and wars have caused it to collapse. But we still have a good remaining of it. You can also imagine there was an octagon. If you see, if it was from a bird's eye view, it's an octagon shape in the middle. And in the middle is where they also used to do some, basically a form of a baby baptism, right?
Wow. So guys, I'm just gonna swivel you guys around so you can see this massive site. So I understand this was also uncovered, or was this like above the surface?
No, this was above. This was
This
above the
is, yeah.
surface, and it was built above. Like the Byzantines built it above a synagogue, a Samaritan synagogue. Now, some archaeologists or historians would argue it was built above a second Samaritan temple. However, we do not believe we had a second one. We believe it was just a synagogue. And of course, you have above that the mosque right there was built by Sheikh Arif. So 600 years ago, basically.
So layers of history, of cultures, one on top of each other.
Mamash, mamash. One of my favorite things about this place is how there's also like ancient engineering really in it. So they figured out how to pass water basically underground from one place to the other, almost like pipes. You would think 1,600 years ago it was not that easy, but they made it really easy. This here. You can also see like something that looks like a well over there.
Oh yeah.
That's actually a cistern, so it collects rain more than it's
And
not
it's still
really
active, right? Because it's
it's still active. You can, of course, it still collects rain. So
wow.
not allow us. But you see mansions around. There used to be places where the Christians would have, would go and do their version of mikveh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a mosaic bedding where it's made from, those cubic stones, which you
Yes.
can find. If you do find around there, please tell me. Because
Okay.
ever since I was a child, I was looking for the perfect cube. We used to play a game where any child who finds a cube, we would rate it, out of 10, depending on how perfect of a cube it is. So if you do find and you perfect my childhood, thank you.
I will give it to you, and you can win them all.
We still have, the synagogue to see. So,
I would love
but
that.
there's still the story of how the split happened. We'll talk about it in a
Okay.
second. That's interesting.
Guys, Abood has been kind enough to explain more than history. It's like your memories are here.
Yes.
So it's when I come to places like this, because it's not my background. When I meet people like Abood, it becomes more than just archaeology. It becomes a people or people group that I get to know, like intimately, in some kind of way, very, very closely. And so when you watch these things, I want you to put yourself in their shoes, to understand a way of thinking, to look at their, ceremonies in a ways that helps you understand a people group that is different than you, and see the beauty in all of it, because these places, they just speak of so much richness.
But sometimes I ask myself, wow, how did I end up in this community? Because like out of all the communities around the world, but it's also unique. And there's also some challenges,
Right.
but I believe there's also huge rewards. One of it is being part of this, ancient community, and have this sense of belonging, and all those ancient traditions, and all those beautiful poems and chants and melodies, and it's just like a rich tapestry, of all those things. I love it, When I talk about challenges, I think the challenges would be, perhaps if a Samaritan one day would like to study abroad or something like that, he has to think twice, because no Samaritan ever did that.
Really? Why?
Yes, because you have to live here or with the other community for now. That's the accepted thing, and you have to understand the reason is because if everyone really spread around the world, there would be no community anymore. Especially the ones who are sticking to Mount Gerizim. Someone has to stay here and has to come to pilgrimage and has to keep all the 3,600-year-old tradition here, right? So that's the thing that we do. We have to. The sacrifice of being a Samaritan is that you have to stay here and you have to come here for many times a year.
So it's not so acceptable to leave the community. Do you marry outside of the community?
We do marry from outside the community, but the woman has to convert to become a Samaritan, right? She has to come here, live here, and eventually she decides this is good for her. And of course, the husband and the family will see the most important thing is that she's going to be comfortable also doing all the traditions and the Shabbat and the kosher and all those things. So. And for now, there has been some good number of women who did it. So
how big is Nablus? Because it was does it stretch around?
Basically, Torah Be'al Peh, you can call it. So we have all those etched here. So you have the Mishkan, tools of the Mishkan. So you have similar in material? No. This is
Because
paper.
that's very,
We
very
don't have
ancient, and this
kosher-
is much newer, right?
Samaritans have their own cuisine in general, since they live between Israelis and Palestinians.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it.